Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, November 16th, 2022, and this is Pro Wrestling Unscripted on the Podzilla 1985 network. I want to say hello to all of my... Damn it, I don't remember. What does Scott Snyder always say? It's all of his freaks and geeks.
And his peaks.
Yeah, freaks and the peaks out there.
Freaks and Geeks was a popular show on NBC in the mid-90s.
I'm going to take you to...
not popular enough to get more than one season.
Taking you to Muscle Mountain this week over here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shannon Young, Mr. 100. Slightly, very much under the weather. I may sound intoxicated. I'm not this time. I just don't... Well...
Not yet.
I guess it could be both, technically. I'm drinking the whiskey to kill the cold, because my theory is the whiskey burns. It burns the impurities out of you, you know?
Oh, not how that works.
Well...
And yet he continues.
Well, I'm down 30 pounds and I feel better, so you tell me where I went wrong. Yeah, science, all your liberal bullshit. You know, really, now I get
Science is a liar sometimes.
Now I get it. Now I get why they trust Trump, because, you know, the liberals will tell you it's all whack, but, you know, Trump lost 30 pounds and he felt better. With me, of course.
Did that happen?
Double H is with us.
I am. I'm drinking the tea because it keeps all the impurities in where I want them.
I've got too many impurities recently. Big shout out.
You just wanted to be pure.
Really quick, big shout out to Isla Dawn. Let's give it up for Isla Dawn real quick. Come on, let's.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, who is that again?
I don't know.
I don't know. At this point, I'm too afraid to ask. I'm looking at
her right now. I had to look her up because I watched the end of NXT, because every time Mandy Rose has a title match, I'm like, okay, this is the one. This is the time they take it off of her. Because I was a big Mandy Rose fan. I still like Mandy Rose, but I kind of agree that maybe it's gone a little too long at this point.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, she's going to lose to Alba Fire, which is a bad name, but I don't remember what her name was before that.
I'm going to need you to not put that pause between the owl and the bug, because it sounds like a dude named Al Bafire.
Yeah, you don't know Al Bafire?
I do now. I'm about to go change the name in the group chat.
I'm trying to see what Alba Fire is.
It's going to be my own.
Her name was Kaylee Ray before. I think Kaylee Ray is probably better than Alba Fire. A little. She's Scottish.
Yeah.
She's Scottish.
There was also, I mean, she had the acronym, or not the acronym, but the initialisms, you know, the KLR.
Yeah.
It was more marketable. It rolls off the tongue a little easier.
I don't know. I kind of like the name Alba Fire. Apparently people make fun of it. But
I don't hate it. I'm not a huge fan of the let's put a Y in the middle of fire so that we can trademark it.
I'm not a fan of them picking a country and saying that's the country we're going to make really strong tonight. So, you know, it was Japan for a little bit. You had Asuka and you had Kairi Sane and Io Sky. I'm sorry, Io Shirai. I don't remember her name anymore. It's Io Sky. That's all I could think of. It was Shirai, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
Io Shirai. Yeah. The genius of the sky, Io Shirai.
Yeah, and you had the Pirate Princess, and then you had the Empress of Tomorrow, and oh my God, this stupidest bullshit. And Japan was number one there for a little while, and then know now we switched over to Scotland because you got Alba Fire, and now Isla Dawn is there, and she's also Scottish.
McIntyre. I mean, Drew McIntyre, of course, is a huge face over on SmackDown.
He's fine.
Kind of.
Ireland got a little bit of respect there for a sip of coffee because.
Well, it's Sheamus still. You're still getting that.
And Becky Lynch, Finn Balor. Sure. You know, you had. It is a very, admittedly, man, it's a very diverse ecosystem that the WWE has established with wrestlers from all over the place. So that's very, very cool. But anyway, you know what, Hunter? Hey.
Did you hear about getting lit on fire by gasoline, Kev?
Hey, Kev, did you hear about me almost dying? I'm Mike Tyson for no reason. You can find my work at Organic Remedies. I don't understand. Anyway.
Careful.
What are they going to do?
You didn't get that one clear, did you?
Hell no, I didn't. Hell no. Every week.
Well, you told them and they said it was okay, and then you did it, and they were like, well, not like that.
Well, 20 seconds later, they called me. They're like, whoa.
Whoa, hey.
Ease up, partner.
Chief.
Just quick plug real quick. You can go to my Facebook right now and see my match from over the weekend. It was myself and the great Osby Tomlin taking on Trent Daniels and Big Peyton Ayers, and just really fast. One, I was really proud of that match. I was very, very proud of it, and it was so good that Jason asked me tonight, hey, do you want to do a last man standing match, just you and Trent? Because Trent and I apparently have really good chemistry. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. We chopped the shit out of each other in that match.
I saw that.
The sound was incredible. But I want to talk about me or Trent. All of those guys are fantastic, but I do want to give a big shout out to Peyton Ayers, who is absolutely killing it. He won the Stride Championship. Dude was on Young Rock. He's D'Lo Brown on Young Rock.
Really?
Yeah, which is
that's cool.
Insane. Which, we had the match on Saturday. We're backstage, and spoiler alert, Wrestling Scripted. He asked me, "Hey, would it be okay?" One, he hit me with the Sky High. I never thought I would.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I never thought I would take a Sky High. That was scary.
I bet.
And then he said, "Can I give you a body slam and then do the D-Lo leg drop?" And I was like, "Hell yes, you could do the D-Lo leg drop." I'd be ashamed if you didn't.
Head waggle.
The little head waggle. It was a fantastic show, top to bottom. Thank you, Perryville, for hosting us, CCW. We couldn't have been happier with it. Thank you, Dalton, for getting that show going. Dalton put a lot of hard work into that. He really killed it. Dalton went out of his went. I thought I did good with Organic Remedies, but Dalton really went out of his way with the Perryville show. And Dalton also had a fantastic night. Just personally, I know we always start with negativity. I'll start with a little positivity. I got to sit in the crowd. I sat there with Derek Boxdorfer. And I watched the main event with Derek, and it was Dalton and his partner Kevin Cade going up against the Crowleys in a ladder match. Dalton is normally a bad guy, as you know, but for this show, he was a good guy because he was in Perryville. He had a lot of his students there. And to hear that crowd going so crazy for Dalton, chanting Mr. Manch, Mr. Manch, I genuinely had a smile on my face. I was so happy for Dalton. I was so proud of him. So I don't know if he's listening or not, but Dalton, man, you did such a good job. He probably is, yeah. All the credits in the world to you, man. That was spectacular. Just don't fucking climb ladders like that again. I will beat the shit out of you myself.
The first thing you posted about the show afterward, like later it was like, oh, I'm so grateful and thankful. But the first thing you posted was a picture of him on the ladder going, yeah, I don't make great decisions. Immediately knew this was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea. Now we'll get to the negativity. So, Speaking of Dalton, Dalton and Asa over there on the nerdiest part of the ring, they start every episode off with the power of positivity. Hunter and I take the opposite approach. We embrace the dark. Correct. We are the negative.
Yeah, it's getting darker out earlier nowadays, and there's definitely a connection there. I didn't come up with it before I started this sentence, though,
right?
So let's
Hunter's new nickname.
Let's just keep it going.
Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative.
Marvel's going to sue us. Yeah.
So my negative thing this week, it's a minor thing, but it does irk me. So Saraya is in AEW now. Saraya, of course, the former Paige from WWE.
Yeah.
And what irritates me about her in AEW, and it happened again this week, is her constantly saying, "This is my house." I get that was a WWE thing. She, this is my house. Sure. And it made more sense in WWE. She won the Women's Championship on her first match on the main roster from AJ. She was instrumental in NXT's women division. She was, instrumental in the WWE's women division. So I get that. But she's going over to AEW where she's literally, all she's done is stand in a ring and talk a little bit. And she keeps going, "This is my house," to Britt fucking Baker, who literally built the women's division in AEW. And if she was a heel and she was saying, "This is my house,"
there it is.
It'd make more sense.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, if they were going to sell her as a heel, I'm down for it. And honestly, it shouldn't have been that hard. Britt Baker was on the cusp of turning face there for a while.
Right.
And then for whatever reason, they never pulled the trigger. And don't get me wrong, Britt Baker is a very good heel. She's done a lot of really good heel work. But that's why the audience kind of got behind her. And I thought, okay, this is organic now. You can have her turn. You can have Paige run it. And I know that there's Saraya. I know that it's going to be hard to sell her as a heel after having been out for so long. But yeah, if you want to really lean hard on the "this is my house" stuff, that would have been a great opportunity to do it. Nope.
Yeah. And I think that's indicative of AEW's issue with, I swear to God, they hate organic. They hate organic. Yep. Anytime a wrestler starts to get an organic buzz behind them. I mean, where is Miro right now? Where is Miro? Why is FTR? FTR is barely on television. They do everything they can to get the Acclaimed to kind of bury them now piece by piece. Like whenever something organic happens in AEW, it's like they immediately pull the rug out from under it. Unless it's Kenny and the Bucks and those guys, they will shove the Elite down your fucking throat if you let them.
And what's really ironic about all of this is take this conversation and have it 6 months ago. Because it's WWE, we're talking about doing that instead. And AEW, where we go, this is where you go. If you can get over, these guys will take it and run with it. Nope.
What a shift change.
In fact, it's almost the exact opposite.
Complete change. It's insane how much it's changed in the past couple of months. Yeah. So that's my thing, is just Saraya, this is my house. It would be like me going to your house and be like, this is my house. It's not. You paid for that house.
And you are welcome at my house all the time. But yes, if you start saying this is my house, we will have to have a conversation. Now, to be fair, you bought a house, and I immediately went and took a picture in front of it and said, my house now.
You did, but you didn't go in at least.
But I didn't come into that house until, about a month ago for the first time. It's been some time.
To drop off a fantastic book called I'm Glad My Mother's Dead by Jeanette McCurdy. Can't praise it enough.
Yes.
God,
imagine as a quick side story, because I ended up with 2 copies of that book. When I finished it, Sarah goes, "There's no way I'm going to read that. It's going to be too depressing for me. I can't do it." So we go to Half Price Books in St. Louis occasionally, and I took my copy there because I thought this is not something I can take to my workplace and have my co-workers read, and I don't really need it. So then, point being, took it there as part of our trade-ins, because we do stuff with them the same way you would do games and stuff with GameStop.
Right.
And when they called me back up to the desk to come to tell me how much we had to work with and what to do with the books and everything, the woman who had run through all our stuff, she picks that one up and she goes, "Is this good?" And I went, "Oh, it's incredible. It's awesome. I finished it not that long ago." And she goes, "This is the first copy that has come through this store. I legitimately did not think we were going to get any." And I went, "Well, admittedly, it's not like I didn't want to keep it. I have no reason to keep it. I'm not going to read it again, more than likely. I'm not the kind of person who reads stuff more than once." And she goes, "Yeah, I don't think this is going to make it off the shelf. I'm just going to hang on to this one myself." And I went, "That's fair."
Yeah.
But in St. Louis, that book's been out for months now, and that was the first copy that came through a used bookstore. It's
an amazing book. It's an amazing book. So I loved. I went from not giving a shit about Jeanette McCurdy, beyond the fact that she's a human being and I care about human beings, but I had no,
not really knowing her body of work.
No,
it was very teen related. It's not stuff that we watch,
right? Because I think she's a little bit younger than us, so we missed the boat on that one. But after hearing, I think I saw her on Red Table Talk, I think is what it's called, with Jada Pinkett Smith. And hearing about what she went through with her mother, and then I was like, I have to have the book. And my cousin Kaz got me an audio version of it that she read, which I actually want to listen to as well. And then you got me the physical copy of the book, and it's sitting on my bookshelf front and center. It's very, very important to me. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about
here. Good.
Imagine if I went over to Stride Pro Wrestling and I made my debut, and I go in the ring and I'm talking to Heath Hatton, and I'm like, "This is my house, Heath. Stride is my house." Yeah, it's not.
There would be a conversation you would have in the back later that would be unrelated.
He would say, "I did not okay this." And that's my thing of the week. Saraya, it's not your house.
That's fair. I got also a relatively minor thing. It's one of those just people saying things where I go, that rubbed me the wrong way. You're aware of the Freddie Prinze Jr.
You mean fuck, what's his name? Barney, Donald, Fred.
What?
Is it Fred from Scooby Doo? Yeah. There you go. Ascot. Yeah.
I thought you were just going to say, "Oh, you mean Mr. Geller?"
That's Fuck him.
That's a good one too.
He took Sarah from me.
I honestly don't hate the guy. I found a lot of his stuff to be really fascinating when he worked for WWE, and then afterward talking about how he wrote for them and all the different stuff that he tried to get across with them. But this week, I don't know if you know, he's got a podcast that's just called Wrestling with Freddie. And
clever.
Apparently on his, he really scraped the old insides of the brain for that one. On his show this week, he made a very contentious point to say that he did not watch Crown Jewel this year. Now, Crown Jewel, of course, famously emanates from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and we all have said numerous times, fuck that. That's kind of gross. I wish they wouldn't do that. Rumor has it they're looking for a way to get out of it now that Vince isn't in charge, but that's neither here nor there. They're still doing the show for the time being. Freddie on his podcast said, and I quote, "I say the following with pride. I did not watch a single minute of Crown Jewel, and my life is so much better for it. Even if it was great, I do not believe in it. I think it's a goofy pay-per-view." To which I would like to respond with a quote from the famous John Oliver. Cool. Like, what do you want? A medal, man? What do you hang on, let me hit you with the Chris Rock one. What do you want? A cookie?
In my head I hear Homer Simpson going, "Bravo."
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't watch Crown Jewel either, but I certainly didn't play it up like some, I would never go and watch Crown Jewel.
You fix the monocle and right. oh my.
The diamond-tipped cane.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, okay, do you really think you're not, like, watching even clips from the show made a difference at all? Do you really think? And I don't get me wrong, I get it. Some people are going to equate this with, well, everyone has to vote. Like, we can't get into people's heads like, oh, if you don't vote, it doesn't matter. That's not the same thing,
right?
If morally you feel better for not having watched it, great. But
don't crow about it.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it just reeks of like, well, this is how much better I am than you.
Right.
Just fuck off.
Yeah.
Just fuck off. That's what it is.
Yeah, like, look, you're talking to a guy who has said before, I have not watched any of the pay-per-views out of that particular area because of similar reasons. Like, as a journalist, the Khashoggi thing that happened years ago, that WWE, to be fair, they signed their deal before that happened, but and there was talk of, oh, what do we do? Should we honor it? And it is a contract, but at the same time, I would never support that show because of the people behind it. But at the same time, man, I'm not going to go online and brag about it because, one, who gives a shit? And whether you watch it or not, that is not going to hurt WWE's bottom line. They're not making money off the network, broadcast. They're making money off of the Saudi prince that paid $10 billion over the course of 10 years or whatever.
Crazy amount of money. Also, importantly, he wants credit for not doing something.
Right, Hunter. I didn't.
That always irked me.
I didn't kill anyone today.
Hey, you know what?
Thank you.
Good for you, man. Let's give it up for Shannon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wear a ribbon in honor of your continued fight against evil.
My own evil, but yeah.
I don't know, man.
I
like
agree
I said,
with you.
it just irks me. It's just one of those you corny. I was watching the Player Haters again this morning, and all I can hear is just Patrice O'Neal going, "You corny."
Which, the irony that you brought up Patrice O'Neal, because I was just thinking of people that a lot of people don't know worked for WWE. Freddie Prinze Jr. was a writer for WWE. Patrice O'Neal was a writer for WWE.
Also a writer.
It's crazy the people that they brought in. I was also thinking about, you mentioned, Patrice O'Neal and the haters and all that. I was thinking about Chappelle because I went back and watched a lot of the Chappelle's SNL for over the weekend, and it was really funny. Yeah. And his monologue was very funny, and I get that people are trying to cancel him. It is a very scary. I agree with him. It's a very scary place to be right now, where you can't make jokes. But I also, I don't know, man. It is a double-edged sword when it comes to free speech.
And the Chappelle thing is particularly concerning because now, and I know this is not the show, but we'll probably talk more about it tomorrow. You may have seen, rumor has it, he changed his monologue from the dress rehearsal to the main show because he didn't want people to know that he was going to talk about Semitism and anti-Semitism, and then that didn't go over very well. And it just whole thing is.
I get that. I get that. That's like when was it? Sinead O'Connor went out there and she was going to do something, but instead she tore up a picture of was it the Pope? Yeah,
and then burned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then one time Steven Seagal hosted,
which was also generally a bad idea.
Which was a war crime. One of the worst
The
fucking
worst
episodes I've
post
ever
of
seen.
all time.
Hunter,
So bad.
we don't have a lot to talk about this week, only because I've been
Yeah.
sick. We haven't done a show in a couple days. The last show we did
It's
was
been
actually
a light week too.
was a
Honestly.
mixed show. But I did
True.
I wanted to talk about the NWA situation because there's some interesting things happening over there. And it started with Nick Aldis last week saying that he was leaving NWA, which he was then suspended for saying he was leaving NWA. And now Tyrus is the champion. So tell me how we connected these fucking dots.
Yesterday I saw something where someone goes, way back in the day, like my grandpa had. Who was the longtime NWA champion? Was it Buddy Rogers? Was the NWA champion like way back when?
I think so.
It wasn't Backlund. Who was the guy I'm thinking of? It was maybe been by. Anyway, they were like, my grandpa had him, and then my dad had Ric Flair, and now I've got Tyrus. So you tell me who's winning. There was a lot of discussion about how just out of shape Tyrus is. Like this is not Kevin Owens where he's like kind of rounder, but he's clearly athletic and he's muscular. Tyrus just fat, dude. He's just big. He's just a big dude. And no body shame here. Do what you want to do, but you're a professional wrestler, man. You're somebody I'm supposed to be like watching do athletic shit, and you can't do that because you're out of shape.
And not only that, but as somebody who I would never say I'm in shape. I'm not horrible, but I'm not like you can look at me and you can look at Trent Daniels.
You're not Tyrus
and see there's difference. But I'm also not in the main event of a fucking major company like NWA. Why NWA would choose Tyrus of all people to put the championship on? Because who else was in that match? It was Trevor Murdoch. It was Tyrus, and and there was it one other person? Am I crazy or? Let me see.
It may have been, but Trevor Murdoch is reason enough. Just put it back on him. He's had it before.
Trevor Murdoch.
I think he was the champion going in, if I remember correctly.
He was, and he also to me looks like a guy that is not in shape, but that's okay. So it was all right. It was Tyrus, Trevor Murdoch, and Matt Cardona.
In shape.
Why would you not put it on Cat Mardona? Cat Mardona.
Right.
Fuck me.
Cat Mardona.
Fuck me.
That's his evil twin from the Impact Zone.
It's the medication mixed with the whiskey, I swear, Your Honor. Cat Mardona. So Matt Cardona. The only reason I can see them not putting it on Matt Cardona is because the rumor is that Matt Cardona is heading back to WWE, as is Nick Aldis, as is Chelsea Green, as is everybody else.
Everyone they can get their hands on, man.
Right.
Yeah. Now that they got Emma back under the label, they're trying to get, because apparently I didn't know that she was with Riddick Moss. I had no idea they were a thing.
Yeah.
That evidently he's primed for a move up, that there might be a romantic angle with them, and then a whole thing going on there. Yeah, man, the NWA situation is very weird overall. So all this, to be fair, according to NWA, he wasn't suspended because he said he wanted to leave. He was suspended because he was extremely critical of the company in general, and then said he wanted to leave. And they were like, okay, well, if that's how you're going to talk in the press, then we'll cut you loose. Right. It's still not great. It's still not a great look, but they had at least a little more logical, slightly reasoning for doing these kind of things.
Well, he did call NWA the most toxic brand in pro wrestling.
Yes, he did. Very much so. The whole thing supposedly in a lot of ways revolves around Mickie James, who of course is his wife, her treatment back at the Empower pay-per-view. She was apparently not treated very well surrounding that. I didn't get all the details on that. Yeah, the whole thing is just very, very much up in the air. The last thing that I saw is that Aldis is a free agent. He said he kind of wants to explore that. Of course, WWE is definitely a rumor of something that he might do. He has a handful of businesses that he's purporting right now. So he's got this Legacy Sports Nutrition thing that he's doing. But Aldis is just one of those guys who kind of like pre-Cardona, pre-Cody Rhodes even, left, I guess it was Impact. He was with Impact for a while there and went to NWA and just kind of made it his company. This is my place. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It's a really weird situation to see. Cody leaving AEW was weird enough as it was, but Aldis leaving and not even really of his own accord, that's a bizarre look to happen. That's yet another, put that on your bingo card for 2022. Vince McMahon is out. Cody Rhodes is back and Nick Aldis is done with NWA.
I actually worked with Nick Aldis a couple years ago. I was ring announcing, and he was in the main event against Austin Lane, our good friend Austin Lane, the best of the best, from rope to rope, pillar to post. And I got to do the ring announcing, and then I got to sit at ringside and hold the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA title. And I will say, Nick Aldis was a gentleman. He was a straight up gentleman. He was very nice, very cordial, but he was also very big time. Like, I don't know if that was ego or what, but you could tell that he had to be introduced. When I was talking to him, he had to be introduced a very specific way. The belt was very important to him. His stature was very important to him. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that when you're in wrestling, especially when you're carrying a company like that. I think you do have to have a certain level of prestige, and Nick Aldis definitely had that prestige. Now, do I think that Tyrus is going to have that prestige when he takes the belt onto the Greg Gutfield show on Fox?
News?
Probably not. When he's not sexually harassing pretty blonde reporters, you know. Great one to put your title on, to go from a gentleman like and real class act like Nick Aldis to Tyrus. The guy that the WWE called the Funkasaurus.
Who his most memorable thing about him was introducing the world to Naomi instead.
Right. Yeah.
And using the Cats theme song from WCW.
I'll never forgive him for using Ernest Miller's theme song. That's what.
Oh God, Ernest Miller, I missed him.
One of these days, we should do a show about recycled music in wrestling, because you've got Ernest the Cat Miller. His theme went to Tyrus, or what was his name at the time? Tyrese, Brodus Clay. There it is. And you had Del Wilkes. The Patriot theme became Kurt Angle's theme much later, and he ran out. And then I always thought about this, and then I saw somebody else confirmed that they also heard it. Go back and listen to Stone Cold and Razor Ramon's music. It's the same. Ramones. It's the exact same. Mm-hmm. Razor's just slowed down.
Two of them that escaped. Well, they were dual parts because they got outside of wrestling. The Hardy Boys theme and the Hollies, Hardcore Hollies, and Crash.
Yeah.
Their themes were both bumper music for like Spike TV and stuff. And they're also famously in a bunch of video games because they're just generic music you can buy from any licensed library.
Yep.
Like, so using the old Hardy Boys theme and those, you could just hear them on any random commercial or whatever.
Which was great for AEW when they hired the Hardys on. They could just use their old theme music.
Right. It was super easy.
Hey, you remember when the Hardys were in AEW?
Aren't they still technically?
Maybe? Man, you talk about a waste of a fucking opportunity. The Hardys World Tour. God damn.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Sometimes I feel like AEW can't get right. And I was playing the World of Warcraft today because I was sick, and I got up before I went to Gaming Grounds and we set up things for holiday. I was playing the World of Warcraft. They just dropped the new Drakthir race, and I was testing that out, and I was doing some world events. That's how the people listening that play WoW know that I'm legit, because I mentioned the Drakthir.
Hell yeah.
And I was listening to Jim Cornette, as I do sometimes when I play, just because he's background noise, and he was talking about the whole homegrown talent thing in AEW. AEW brings in all of these guys from WWE mostly, and they always come in and they cut their big promo about how WWE sucks and Triple H is an idiot. See Jeff Jarrett. They got the title on Jon Moxley, who Jon Moxley is a beloved AEW figure, but Jon Moxley is also very much a WWE transplant. I mean, he's really associated with AEW in the same way that Kurt Angle did when he went to TNA, but you still can't deny the fact that he was a WWE original. You have a chance now to put the title on a legitimate homegrown talent, because even if you look back at Kenny Omega very much came from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was the elite. MJF, and the same thing with Hangman Page to a lesser degree. And you've also had it on Jericho. You've had it on guys that didn't feel like they were AEW really, really homegrown. Sure. MJF is that opportunity. He's going for the title, and I almost feel like they are definitely going to not put the title on MJF, and what a terrible mistake that would be, because you got lightning in a bottle, but like they always do, they piss it away because Tony Khan does not know how to book a fucking wrestling show.
Well, not to mention, you have all this controversy and all of this shit surrounding MJF earlier this year. He's gone from the company for a while. When they bring him back, they actually do like the work shoot, well, if you'll come back, I'll pay you whatever you
Fire
want.
Me, you fucking Mark.
Call. Oh, that whole thing. Like, it's got to pay off somehow. If he went through all of that and gets the casino chip and has a stable that he then gives up on a month later, even though they never worked together. Right. Remember the Firm?
The Firm, yeah.
Because MJF doesn't.
Yeah.
If they go through all that and he
Morrissey
still doesn't win the title, oh my god. What was the point?
What was the point?
I'm going to look at it at the end, just like with Krusty with the cigarette. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
What was the point of any of that? I've said this before. I'll say it again. I even said it earlier in the show to a certain degree. AEW is more like WWE now than they've ever been. They're more like the old WWE. I think Tony Khan is feeling the same pressure that an octogenarian Vince McMahon. How old is he? 70 something?
70 plus, yeah, mid 70s.
Okay, septuagenarian Vince McMahon does when he, earlier in the year and for the past few years prior has gone. We're going to do what we think the audience won't see coming on a pay-per-view. I don't care if it's illogical. I don't care if it goes against everything. That's what's happening on the pay-per-view. Any other show, I don't give a shit.
Right.
On pay-per-view, we're doing something that makes no sense and that will not catch the audience's attention. This is Tony Khan now. He has reached his fucking wit's end of, I'm going to book the match in such a way that you'll never guess what's going to end. Not recognizing that, again, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. I don't care about it ending in a way that surprises me more than I do about one that satisfies me.
Yes.
That's the important part.
Right.
A satisfactory ending, not a surprising one.
Because
sometimes a surprise is satisfactory.
Yeah, but
not always.
Sometimes you see the ending coming a mile away, but it still feels good when you get there.
Kofi Kingston winning the title from Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan winning the title at WrestleMania in that triple threat. All the things that led up to those major moments, we kind of knew were going to happen. Of course, there was a chance they wouldn't, but you sort of knew they would. And it was still extremely satisfying because everything that led up to it was worth watching.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Compare it to films.
That's just storytelling.
Right.
Well, compare it to films, compare it to books, compare it to literally any story that's ever been told.
Imagine.
It's the satisfaction, not just the surprise.
Imagine in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, after going through those three, back in in 83 when it actually came out, going through all of those movies. And then at the end of the film, when Vader has a chance to turn on the Emperor and save his son, he instead kills his son, and then they rule the galaxy together. Yeah, it's like, was it surprising? Sure. Or Leia comes in
over
there.
his shoulder and says, "Bet you didn't see that one coming."
And then the credits roll and everyone goes, "Well, I didn't see that coming, but I'm pissed." That was not a good twist. That was not a good twist. I did not like that.
Right. I was going to say, again, remember that M. Night Shyamalan had a lot of good twist endings too early on, and then people went, "Oh, that's all you know how to do?"
But what's the twist?
Because they're not all good.
Right.
Yeah, what's the twist?
What's the twist that's happening?
Does there have to be one?
It's the trees. Hey.
It sure was.
Hey, speaking of a twist, Ric Flair got twisted because I love this story. I don't know if you saw this. Ric Flair said that he recently met Col Cabana. Did you read this story?
Yeah.
I
didn't read the whole thing, but he asked him about CM Punk or something. I didn't get the whole thing.
I love this. So he says he's on the To Be the Man podcast. Ugh. I hate Conrad Thompson, by the way. I hate Conrad Thompson. What a boring. He's so boring. I can't stand his fucking voice. I hate his face. I don't understand how he has every wrestling podcast in the world. In the next couple of weeks, he'll probably have this one. Sooner
or later, he's coming for
He'll just be sitting there going, "Hey, Hunter, you read about this Ric Flair?" I can't.
He keeps making offers. We keep turning him down. We're making too much money on our own.
Yeah, there's really no reason for us to do it. So on the To Be the Man podcast, Ric Flair says, "Col Cabana walked up to me the other day. Col Cabana came over and wanted my autograph, and I didn't know who he was. Never met him, right?" And the guy goes, "This is Col Cabana." Then I stood up and shook his hand. I said, "What's going on with you and Punk?" He said, "It's a long story." So Punk's got more long stories with people than I do. Col Cabana's a nice kid, a really good worker. How would you know when you didn't know who he was? That's the part that gets me. Right. He specifically says, "I don't know who this guy is." But then, he's a great worker, though. If he's a great worker, you would have fucking recognized him, Rick, you drunk fuck.
So here's a little inside secret from my line of work, which I will not detail on.
You will not.
Show.
No.
We are often asked for letters of recommendation for people in our workplace, and it's a sort of poorly kept secret that most of us have a template. So you write a really good one for someone who you have a lot of individual things to say about. But when someone asks you for one who you don't really know much about them, you just kind of go in and plug in their name into the template. They do this and they've done that, and they would be good for whatever this, insert job or school or wherever you're going thing here.
Right.
That's this story for Ric Flair. I'm 100% convinced reading the story that Ric Flair inserts names into this story all the time. This guy came up to me, indie wrestler who I don't know, came up to me. I didn't recognize him. Someone said his name. Insert indie wrestler who he knows, and I ask what's going on with them, and then say he's a good worker.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's a good worker.
Story.
Yeah. Thanks,
There's
Rick.
no way this shit happened. I don't think it happened that way at all. No part of me thinks that any of that went down that way. Also, by the way, I found that story over on 411, and I just wanted to check and see real quick. The top comment actually says, "Great worker. I've never seen him before, and I have no idea who he is. But yeah, great worker." Someone goes, "Every time a Ric Flair quote is reported, it sounds increasingly like a rambling Abe Simpson story. I suspect he'll be talking about onion belts soon." Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. I don't know how much you know about Survivor Series, for the record, and like upcoming pay-per-views.
Survivor Series used to be legitimately my favorite pay-per-view when I was growing up.
Yeah. It feels like it's fallen off, man.
It has. It doesn't feel the same anymore. No.
The last time it felt awesome was in 2019 when they did the NXT invasion and they had all three brands. That time was actually very cool.
Right.
So there's a couple of things to go along with this. Number one, NXT has a show coming up called NXT Deadline. I don't know if you've heard about this. They're going to have an Iron Survivor match. Maybe a couple of them, apparently.
Dude, I heard this. I was sitting with Lindsay. We were watching this, and I remember telling her, we watched the video, and I said, that sounds like the most overbooked bullshit I have ever heard in my life.
So for those of you listening, try and keep up, because I'm about to hit you with some bullet points. Here's how it worked. At the December 10th premium live event, 5 competitors will be in the match with a 25-minute time limit. 2 competitors start the match with new entrants every 5 minutes. A pinfall, submission, or disqualification awards 1 point and sends the loser to a penalty box for 90 seconds, after which they can return to the match. And the competitor with the most points in 25 minutes wins the match. For the record,
what's hard to understand about that, Hunter?
To add even more convolution, the winner becomes the number 1 contender to the respective top championship on the brand, whether it's the men's or women's championship. And honestly, that's it. That's all. Nothing else to it than that. There's time limits, there's points, there's a penalty box, and you win a number 1 contendership. What else is there really to know? How hard is this really to follow?
How hard is this to figure out? You have to be a stupid
It's not even difficult.
You
got to be a stupid baby to not figure this out.
You got to be a Derek Boxdorfer to not get this one.
Crust.
Just eat the crust, you stupid baby. Yeah, this is the chaos. This is the worst sounding match I've ever heard. This is the Joey JoJo Jr. Shabadoo of wrestling matches.
And then Shawn Michaels is just in the background.
I get
Triple H goes, wait,
Shawn. Shawn Michaels. Oh, fuck.
I just want a soundbite of you going, Shawn Michaels.
I get you trying to make new matches. You want to, but like, oh my god, this is 80s like
chaos.
Territory era level of fucking chaos, man. I don't get it.
I was wondering when he was going to start talking about the coal miner's glove and the.
Well, no, it's a coal miner's daughter match.
The wheel make the deal.
Yeah.
What was the little guy's name? Cheatham.
Oh, Cheatham, the one-eyed little person, because can't call him midget anymore. Not my Mario.
Not my Mario.
Yeah, I don't like
anyway,
it.
That's happening.
Yeah.
And then Survivor Series, of course, is coming up on the 26th. Not this weekend, but the next. WWE has been famously, weirdly guarded about the card. Getting a lot of criticism for that, too. Major event every year, and they have really not... I don't think they've announced any matches yet, have they?
No.
Everything's just kind of up in the air. The rumor is that so we know that there's going to be a War Games match, right? Triple H announced that much, and that was kind of the last thing that we heard. The rumor is that the main event would be the blood, and this is probably expected, but the bloodline as part of the War Games match, that would be Roman Reigns, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and then Sami Zayn as well. He'll be feeling very oozy that night. Against who? Who will be the team? Well, currently the rumor is it will be Drew McIntyre, all three of the Brawling Brutes, that's Sheamus, Bush, and Ridge Holland, and then Kevin Owens. Now, here's the problem with that. As good as all that sounds, generally, Owens suffered an MCL sprain at a live event recently. Everyone was thinking that's why he hadn't been seen, that he didn't want to go to Saudi and they didn't want to feature him. No, he's hurt because it's going to take about 6 weeks to heal. I don't know that we know exactly when that happened, how long ago that was. So it remains to be seen, obviously, if he'll be in the match. Oh, actually, that was very recent. That MCL sprain apparently was against Austin Theory, and it happened on the 13th, which was just a few days ago.
Oh,
so
all right. Well, we got to change that match around a little bit.
Yeah, so that's probably not going to happen. I don't see Kevin Owens recouping, if that is indeed the case, fast enough for that match. So, first of all, I don't hate any of this. This is all perfectly fine by me. It's a perfectly cromulent setup.
It's perfectly cromulent.
The Bloodline's going to win.
Well,
They're gonna win.
They have
no
to.
No question about that.
We got to make them look strong.
Oh, but the question then, I guess, is who replaces Kevin Owens? Because I feel like he was actually the most critical part of that team. The whole ongoing thing with him and Sami Zayn, and will he convince Sami to leave the Bloodline? Will the split take place? With Jay kind of going against Roman. Who then do you put in Kevin Owens' place? Who would be a reasonable replacement? Because I don't know.
Logan Paul.
I don't hate it.
I think it's the only one that makes sense.
He's also injured. Remember, torn MCL or torn ACL.
I was kind of curious if he was actually injured or if that was like storyline.
No, his co-host on his podcast, because of course, again, everyone has a podcast. It said that he is indeed actually injured. So Logan Paul's out. I've seen suggestions of Seth Rollins maybe fitting in now that he is more of a face, but then there goes your United States champion, right?
Yeah.
I saw at least one suggestion of Ridge Holland, if they are indeed going to pair him up with Emma, and on screen anyway, and have them become a thing. He does have, I said Ridge Holland. Riddick Moss. Riddick Moss is what I meant. Ridge Holland's already in the match.
Riddick Moss wouldn't be a bad idea just for the simple fact that they have done nothing with him.
Well, and they do have a little bit of history because he has that issue that he's had with the Usos in the past. Same goes in the same line of thinking for Ricochet. Ricochet could fit in there as well.
Right.
But I don't think any of those, they're all reasonable suggestions. I get it. But Owens would have been the real linchpin here to make this super interesting. Probably my favorite suggestion I've seen, though I don't think it's serious. I don't think it would actually happen. But Wade Barrett's on commentary says, "Oh, you need a fifth member for your team?" Takes off his headset and says, "I'm afraid I've got some bad news."
Can he wrestle? Is he just not wrestling?
I don't know. I have no idea. Johnny Gargano, his name's been thrown around there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just really curious about what happens with that. And again, we don't even know for sure that this match is happening.
Right.
Matt Riddle's name has been thrown in there. I don't know. We don't even know if this match is happening, but if it does, it sounds like Owens is not going to be a part of it, which is really kind of a big blow to that scenario. Owens has competed in War Games. He showed up in NXT for one a while ago. That would have been awesome. So
Riddle is one of those guys that is another one that's organic. Why don't you guys just go with it? Just jump on it, ride it. My pony.
He won that match with Seth Rollins, and then nothing. He won the match with Seth Rollins, and what came of it? Nothing. Right. Rollins then turned around and won the United States Championship and is currently holding the most important title on the brand. Whereas Riddle is running around with bongos and asking if people want to hit his bongos. Yep. That's what he's doing.
I think it's a weed reference.
And on that note...
No, I do. I think it's a weed reference.
That's a bold statement you're making there.
All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us.
I think it should.
I think
it must.
That's a good stopping point.
I think it's important that it does.
Yeah. We're gonna bail out of here, and you know what? Let's go check out that new Call of Duty update. Of Battle Pass is out. I have a lot of things to say about it.
You're gonna have to say all those things again for me because you said, you know what, and then I heard nothing for like 10 seconds there.
I said, well, let's go check out the new Call of Duty update. I have a lot of things to say about that. It's fucking stupid. I don't understand the call. I don't get it, man. But we're gonna do that. All right. So we're out of here. Tomorrow we got an all new After Dark. It is Nostalgia November. We will finish up our list for our commercials. Jesse and his steel drum. Finally. Girls Gone Wild. I almost said Gone Girl.
Road trip
ruined everything. So tomorrow we try it again. That's tomorrow. On an all new After Dark. But until then, for myself, for Double H, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's been a slow month so far. It's half the month and we've only done like 2 shows. Look, man, it's been a ride, okay? But we'll get back into it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. For myself, for Double H, we'll talk to you later. Hunter, take us out.
5 Finger Death Punch is music for divorced cops. I got it right. Later.